All the police is lying.
These details are all part of court documents filed in Superior Court and U.S. District Court. We know how it began. Last Friday, just after 2 a.m., David DePape breaks in and wakes up Paul Pelosi asking, "Where's Nancy?" We know he'd been living in Richmond, but it's unclear how he got to the city. He had a hammer in one hand and zip ties in the other and was carrying a large backpack. He breaks a glass window to get in, but that doesn't wake Paul Pelosi, who was sleeping upstairs at the time. Instead, he wakes to DePape standing over him, asking, "Where's Nancy?" Paul explained his wife wasn't there and likely wouldn't be back for days. At this point, he says he wants to tie Paul Pelosi up so DePape could go to sleep until the speaker got home. Pelosi tried to escape to the elevator in the house, but DePape stopped him. Then Pelosi walked to the bathroom and shut the door, where he grabbed his cell phone that had been charging there. He then calls 911 and begins trying to explain what's happening in code. Pelosi tells the dispatcher there's an intruder in the house who is waiting for my wife.
RP stated that there's a male in the home and that he's going to wait for his wife.
DePape can be heard telling him to get off the phone, and Pelosi tried to defuse the situation, even saying he didn't need police, while also trying to convey what's going on. DePape was heard saying everything's good in the background. Pelosi says he thinks everything's good. I've got a problem, but he thinks everything's good. The dispatcher says to call back if he changes his mind. Pelosi says, quote, no, this gentleman just came into the house and he wants to wait for my wife to come home. The dispatcher, sensing something was wrong, dispatched officers for a so-called wellness check, even advising them to go code 3, meaning high priority with lights and sirens. At 2:31, police knock on the door and the two men answer. Both have a hand on a single hammer. The officers ask what's going on. DePape says everything's good, but then he pulls the hammer away and starts hitting Paul Pelosi over the head. Pelosi loses consciousness as officers tackled DePape. The documents say Pelosi remained unconscious for 3 minutes, then woke up in a pool of his own blood. He is rushed to SF General Hospital and treated for a skull fracture and injuries to his right arm and hands. The documents also cite an interview between DePape and detectives in which he says he knew police would have to respond, but he didn't want to leave because, in his words, quote, he was fighting tyranny. He allegedly admitted to wanting to kidnap the speaker and talk with her and said he was going to break the speaker's kneecaps if she lied to him. He's now being held without bail, facing a host of felony charges. Back to you.
So it's all questions been answered?
Nope, because they want to know, are Fred and Daphne going to split up, or is it going to be Fred and Shaggy? Fox News makes me sick. Can I say that again? Fox News makes me sick.
How long shall I let him talk before we tell him that he's still muted?
So I mute myself to be more considerate. But what Parker said, I agree with. And then I do have new questions. So first, how long before the police investigation into who at the police office is leaking all of these details? And is it not?
Isn't it
why did they not try to diffuse the situation? Right?
Or it may not be leaked, right? But my thing is, you're releasing a very precise timeline, which has been proven false so many times in the past. My thing is this: police are liars until they're proven to tell the truth. It's just like a regular person in the street. You a liar until you proven innocent. This whole thing where you innocent until you proven guilty, nah, we know that's not how this works. So, same standard that you hold for any other citizen, I hold that standard for police. Now, I want to know who authorized this level of detail just being put out there like this, and why are you letting out this level of detail? Because, first of all, if any 911 call comes from the Speaker of the House residence, all the police supposed to show up. Okay? I don't care if they had a party balloon in the dining room and it was waving in the air and set off a motion sensor. All the police supposed to show up. I don't care if that's Democrat or Republican. That's the Speaker of the House, man. So I'm a little like something don't smell right on that part for me, you know. And and then giving us all. You got to be glamour shots of the dude standing with his hiking gear, and really, y'all
Well,
really got really.
that's for the TV show. You know how they
because who's
do.
gonna be the first network to make a movie out of this? I'm just wondering. Who
Well,
is
it's
it?
gonna take them a while to do a movie, but it's like
Not
really
Lifetime.
though.
Lifetime, I have it out about week
Lifetime,
two.
I have it out about next year.
Well, one of these
January.
conservative network shows, OAN will have something about it. They're coming from above.
I really can't wait for OAN. Boy, that's
Canadian border infiltrated by illegal alien.
Like, they called a Canadian an immigrant? What?
Only because they needed to throw him over the boat. That's it.
See,
because,
you weren't supposed to know about the
that.
Canadian part.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's the only reason that they doing it. Because that's what Fox is running like nonstop on. He's an illegal alien. Listen to the people talking.
What I'm saying, Tracy, you ain't supposed to know the Canadian part. You supposed to hear immigrant. Then you supposed to hear illegal immigrant. You ain't supposed to know what country he's from. You supposed to hear illegal immigrant. So let's go back to Mexico and shut that border to stop Canadians from coming across the border and attacking us.
And here's how pathetic the media is. I don't care what side you're talking about, but this time I'm specifically speaking to this quote unquote liberal media. This is how pathetic they are. The Republicans are going to come out and say, this is an illegal alien from Canada who came across the border in an unauthorized way, and we have got to secure the border. Liberal media will still not say, so are you advocating that we close the Canadian border? They will not ask that question.
They never will.
The border always is supposed to mean the southern border.
That's what I mean. You're missing. Okay. You supposed to just flat out say, so we need to close the Canadian border.
They're not sending their best and brightest. That's really what Fox wants to say.
But it doesn't matter what border you come from. It's got to be the southern border is the problem. Actually, I don't. Is it Canadians? Because I know that they're high on the list. The other part are people who are here on work visas that have expired. That's a huge part of illegal immigration. Actually, take my quotes away. It is illegal. You broke the law to get here. You broke the law. It's either get here or stay here.
Yeah, right? You broke the law to stay.
It is illegal. You're illegal. You're illegal alien. All right. Now I know people be like, "What else call people aliens? That's dehuman." No, it's a legal term. Because if you're domestic, then you're like in that state, and if you're foreign, you're from out of that state. Like, that's just legal jargon. So he's illegal. But they don't want to actually fix illegal immigration, because if they did, they would go after the visas first. Because you literally have a last known address for every last one of them.
Yep,
you even know where they went to work.
The doctors and the nurses and the radiologists and the engineers and the...
When I worked
lower it down, Tracy. Lower it down.
No, she's right.
Who's gonna work construction? Who's gonna work the farms? Who's gonna work?
They get people from they get people from south of the border. No,
right. Those are overwhelmingly represented by your border crossing illegal immigrants. They ain't flying in. What Tracy just hit on is why they won't go after the visas. Because I remember when I sold insurance, boy, you ask some of these folks for their passport and they clam up. We'd be like, I need to see your passport or your green card. I don't want anything. I don't want the insurance. Oh. Okay.
All right,